That's going to be the most annoying sound to start on.
Well, we'll cut that.
No, we're keeping it all.
We're keeping my gags in.
In case you guys are wondering at home, we keep everything.
Yeah. I don't even know how to cut audio.
No. We learned it in school, and I just completely out of my head.
Waste
in and
of
out.
time.
Just total waste of time.
Absolutely.
Shout out Temple University.
Shout out Temple University.
Go Owls.
This is what you get for not putting me in the 30 under 30.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna talk nicely. I don't remember how to cut audio.
It would be, who? How do they consider those people?
I don't know.
I know we're not Quinta Brunson, but
yeah,
we could. Why couldn't we be in there?
Yeah.
I feel like I've known a few people who have gotten there.
Yeah, I know people personally who have gotten there, and listen, no disdain to them. I'm just saying, why am I not being considered?
Yeah, maybe wonder if we are.
Oh, you think?
Maybe there's a big list somewhere, like a tier ranking system.
Sure.
Like you would have on the internet.
Yeah.
But they have just like Temple graduates, and maybe we're like, maybe we're like C tier, but like we're moving our way up.
I like to think it's like how Santa Claus works, where there's a naughty and a nice list, And I think more likely than not, I am probably on the naughty list for Temple 30 under 30. But that's okay.
If you're a standout on the naughty list,
yeah,
I think that's A tier.
I think the longer we keep this podcast going, the more likely we will be on the 30 under 30. But I got to work faster than you because I've got one less year than you. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, just bring me with you.
Yeah.
Once you see the golden gates of glory, the temple, the pearly
You're going to need
gates.
to bring me with you is what I'm saying, because I'm going to be 30 before you're 30.
No, but that you're saying you'll work harder to get there.
Sure. I say a lot of things on this podcast.
And all of them are true.
Everything is factually based.
We won the award for most researched pod in America.
It's Cleveland Rocks. You know the deal by this point. Episode 8. How you feeling, TJ?
Oh, you know what? Honestly, excellent.
Yeah?
After these last couple eps we just watched, this show is really good.
It's finding its rhythm. It's really well
funny.
Done.
Like,
I was
it's
just
quick.
thinking the other night the other episode we were talking about. We've talked about for a while, including the last one, them fleshing out Mimi more.
Yeah,
I feel like that was the thing that was lacking at the start of this.
Definitely,
she's definitely found a rhythm, including with the last episode with them having to team up together to get rid of that bad assistant.
Yeah, I like this whole when they team up together because when they're together, you're always going to have good banter.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's
great character work on both parts.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah. Nothing but money shots for those two.
Yep, absolutely.
Can we reclaim that word as just like
I don't even know what else you're talking about.
Complimentary?
Of course.
Yeah.
We're back is how I
They're
feel.
Hitting half court shots.
Yeah.
We can go with that.
Yeah. Well, no. When I see Drew and Mimi together, I think we're back. They're taking back shots. You know what I mean? That's how I feel about it. That's the first thing that comes to my mind.
Yeah.
So we just did episode 15 and 16. You were asking me about the episode names.
Yes.
The first one, I think I don't want to. Again, we are the most researched Drew Carey Show podcast in America, but I'm pretty sure this is the last scientific-y related name. By which I mean it's not. It's episode 15. There is no scientific name for a show about God.
I really like this title.
Yeah, I think it's
I really
good.
like that we have a show about God. I mean, we'll get into the details here, but it was kind of
refreshing.
Seeing them all in the church.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Like, wow, okay.
And I don't know what denomination of Christian Drew is. He's just Christian.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
I can't really, I got to be honest, for a guy who was raised Catholic, everything else is kind of ambiguous to me. Yeah.
I know the names of them.
Sure,
like
yes,
Mormonism,
I do.
Methodist, like you could, be evangelical. I wouldn't be able to tell you the
like
different
Protestant,
delineations.
Lutheran.
Protestants, absolutely Lutherans. Yeah, we just named 5 different forms of Christianity.
We can name them.
Yeah,
I couldn't. Maybe you can, having gone to Catholic school.
Yeah. I can tell you a lot about Catholicism. No.
Do they teach you at all about the others?
They do not teach you really about the others. You get like a brief mention, but it's heresy. So why would they bother to tell you about the others? Really?
Right. It's interesting. I mean, I get like
I will say, I do have friends who went to Catholic or Jesuit colleges, and there you can learn more. And I'm sure as you go on, I have family that have studied religion and other higher education forms. You can
I'm
learn
sure
world
if you
religions
can
there.
than you would it at like a Catholic high school.
Yeah, exactly. My Catholic high school was 2 hallways and then trailers outside for the other classes. We weren't really. There wasn't time to learn about Islam. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's like every religion standoffish about teaching the others practices.
I don't know.
I don't like because we only know from the Catholic perspective, but like like if you grow up Jewish or Muslim or anything, are you? How much do you learn about other perspectives?
Right.
Is it as little as we as Catholics learn? Because we really learn nothing.
I would hope, because then I would feel less ignorant.
Right. Yes.
But I don't know if that's true or not.
I dropped my phone.
Oh God, it's always gonna fucking happen.
It's gym shorts.
Yeah.
Gym shorts in these chairs. You sit back. It falls.
Game over. You got big thighs.
We're at our
too,
kitchen
brother.
table, just so you guys can visualize us.
Breakfast coming out in a couple seconds.
Yeah.
Gonna keep it hot. So yeah, we start this episode. Drew is checking employees for health fraud. Just a dumb little throwaway gag line. He wants to ask, I do not get the guy's name, but he wants to know if a guy really has a wooden leg. So the guy with the wooden leg takes a paper cutter off of Drew's desk and just stabs himself in the leg with it. And Drew goes, well, I won't even bother asking about the glass eye. Ha, 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 ha. But then we get to the larger point, which is the store is going to shut down because Cleveland is in the middle of an ice storm. We're still in winter.
Yeah, they made an announcement, like a PA announcement in the store where they were like, we're closing our doors early because public transit's shutting down. And everyone needs to rush for a ride home.
Evacuate, basically.
Yes.
Yeah. So Drew is now scattering to basically find a way home because I guess he took the bus, which we haven't seen him do before, but it doesn't matter. There's no carpool for Drew.
Yeah.
Drew's trying to get with different people. He begs Mimi.
Kate, her carpool's already taken. Mimi refuses to give him
Tells him to bite me.
a ride. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's kind of left with nothing else. He has to turn to the Optimist Club. This is the first we hear of the Optimist Club.
Yeah, this is fun. I couldn't understand what they were saying, what the Optimist Club is.
Sure. They're very vague about it before we meet the
before
woman
we
that
just
leads
meet
it.
the most optimistic woman you've ever met.
Kindest little, I guess
She
it
reminds
was,
me of Don Draper's wife in Mad Men.
I haven't seen enough of it.
Give
to
me
really
that
know.
energy.
Is her name Sally or something? Is that
that's
right?
the,
No,
that's
the daughter.
kid that I can't remember her. What?
That's all
God,
right.
it's killing
Guess
me.
what? We'll cut it.
She crushed it.
Yeah.
We don't have to cut this.
Okay.
Everyone can know that I forgot her name.
That's fine. Yeah, so he basically turns to this woman, and this woman is already even excited about the ice storm because she's got a new ice scraper for her car.
Yeah.
Just annoyingly optimistic is how I would describe it.
Right.
It's we finally realized
Giving a
why.
lot of thumbs ups.
Yeah, she's just cheerful, you know, ready to go. So Drew says, I'll be there in just a minute. I got to finish up some work. So they're going to wait for him, I guess. But Drew, the last thing we see before it leaves. Betty is her name. This is why you kept it in.
This is why I kept it. Guys, it came around to me. I didn't even look it up. It just came out of the crevices of my head.
She looks like a 90s version of Don Draper's wife,
Yeah, Betty Draper.
Betty Draper.
Okay. Anyway, we can continue with so he has one more thing to do after the woman at the Optimist Club makes her way out to her car. He's like, I'll be there in a second. He runs back to his computer. He has to do something for Mr. Bell.
He's trying to print something out.
He's typing in the computer.
It freezes.
Is this how you printed in the 90s? Because he was narrating what he was doing, and it was just colon, backslash, colon.
Yeah.
I'm like, is
Command E or Control E.
And then the computer just
combusts. It
explodes,
starts smoking in the back. He has to get a fire extinguisher. We see him putting it out. And then I think that's kind of it. And then smash to the titles.
Yeah,
which I found interesting.
Yeah, so we don't really know what happens here.
So we get out of the titles, and the first thing we see is just a framed photo of Drew Carey, and then a bunch of white flowers and lit candles, and a bunch of his coworkers mourning over his desk.
Right.
Because Drew Carey is dead.
Yes, Drew Carey. Mimi's even
crying over it.
Upset.
Yeah.
To some degree. I don't know.
Maybe she's not crying.
She's feigning.
She's feigning the crying, but she's doing it really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for 30 seconds, the show lets you
believe that Drew is dead.
And they say that he died in a car accident coming back from that ice storm. So we're left to believe that the Optimist Club did not survive, basically.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we find out more about it.
Right.
So obviously they're all mourning his loss, and then within 30 seconds, Drew just stumbles into work. And completely normal, unfazed. Yeah. And they're like, Drew, what? You're supposed to be dead.
Yeah.
And it turns out Drew never made the carpool because of this thing
Smoking
with his computer. So, but everyone thought it was Drew because the
report was that, well, I guess they were really optimistic, Mimi says, or Kate says, or someone, that they were going to beat that train.
They were so positive they could beat that train.
So they were trying to race over train tracks, and I guess they just got smashed by a train.
And the description was in the carpool, there was one like middle-aged, heavy-set man that was killed. That was the one
in
fatality.
His 50s. We were talking in an earlier episode that I just
about
how old Drew was, and I said 25. So I was off by about half.
Yeah.
I don't know if Drew's supposed to be 50, though, in this. That seems wrong, too.
25.
25's hysterically wrong.
Hysterically wrong guess. Yeah.
But 50 seems nuts, too, you know?
50's too old. I mean, he's definitely, I say like 40,
sure.
38.
He presents older.
Yeah.
For sure.
But either way, he is
alive, and everybody else is in critical condition or something, except for this one fatality.
Yeah, we never see the woman again. We never pick up this plot.
No, again. And for some reason, none of the other desks in the office seem to be.
They're not mourning anything.
No, there's no photos of anyone else, no flowers, just Drew Carey. So yeah,
I like that they all set it up at his desk, like this would be the reaction.
Yeah,
anyone would have Yeah.
It's a lot.
So anyway, he sits down, and there was a line in here where I guess Mimi got a 6-foot hoagie in memoriam for the for Drew's death, and she was like, "Oh, I guess I'll give the 6-foot hoagie to the homeless shelter." And Drew turns around and says, "I bet you only 3 feet make it." So, bang. Again, this just I can't imagine how this amplifies, because it's like joke after joke after joke with these two already.
They really hit it.
They crush it.
Yeah.
I don't know, this whole dynamic. I'm sure it has to. I mean, they became she was like the most famous character probably from.
I would imagine, other than Drew. Yeah, that's what I think of. The other thing that I really like about it, and the pun is fully intended here, is that they can each pull their own weight. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That we can get those zings from both sides.
Can we talk about Jay's earrings?
Sure. I didn't notice it in this one.
No, I've noticed it big in this scene.
Yeah.
I mean, they felt like big and aggressive.
Right.
Look, no problem with people wearing
jewelry.
Men wearing jewelry, whatever. Jay, I mean, these just felt like full rocks in his ear as he walked up as they were clearing out the flower arrangements.
Yeah.
And I was just like, in the 90s were people doing, I guess, like boy band culture?
Well, not to jump ahead of other things, we get a lot of Antonio Banderas, as we got in the last one, too, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a little metrosexual flair going on in the 90s.
Yeah.
That men can experiment with earrings like that.
They were huge.
So, because I thought one time I saw him with like a small hoop. Like
it was
when we first
both.
Meet him. Both earrings had
both
like
studs. It was the first I had
studs.
seen him with 2 earrings.
Yeah. Wow.
Anyway, good for him. He
Jay.
has a good look.
Yeah, he's got a hot girlfriend.
Look, he's the most handsome guy in the show.
He's the only one that's like consistently dating.
Yeah.
So good for him. They're exclusive. We go then back to Drew's home, and Drew and Oswald are looking for a Bible. I was just like thrown off by the whole thing. Drew's family Bible.
Family Bible.
Yeah.
That's a good old Midwestern family right there with the family Bible.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And they're looking all over the house for it. And then we ended up getting, like, all his friends are there, and we ended up getting this whole story about how he traded it to Kate, who traded it to Oswald, who traded it to Lewis.
Yeah. And they're all doing it for Playboys or Playgirls. Yes. Or I think Oswald got his kid brother from it.
But ultimately, Drew's like, I need the Bible because I left something important in there.
Yes.
And
it ends up being a list of things he wanted to accomplish before he died.
Yeah. So the theme of this episode now is he's very
existential.
Yeah, very conscious of his own death.
Yeah.
And now wants to
make the most of this.
Make the most of his life.
He basically feels he should have been the one who died.
And the computer was some sort of miracle.
It was an act of God.
Them. Yes.
Yeah. First of all, I do just want to talk the list of things. We didn't get an age when Drew wrote this list, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we did. 12.
Oh, he was 12 years old.
He was 12 years old.
The list includes, not exclusively, touch a boobie, gain weight, start a family, buy mom a house, and then give a year to God. He contains multitudes, this man, Drew Carey.
What a complex human being this 12-year-old.
This 12-year-old was. Yeah.
I mean, because he was thinking about, obviously, he was thinking about sex, but he was also very conscious of his own faith,
his family dynamics.
Yeah. What a complex
starting
12-year-old.
A family at 12. That's a big thought for a 12-year-old.
It was a family of 12?
No, I'm sorry. He was 12.
Starting
a family at
12. Yes.
Thinking about that. A family of 12 would be a lot. It would still kind of be pretty Midwestern, I would say.
Yeah, just a big old happy family.
Yeah.
He would have had to get started earlier on this.
He would have had to start
a very
at 13.
old dad.
Yeah.
They end up finding Drew's scout uniform.
Yeah, his Boy Scout uniform, and there's
a
badge falling off that I enjoy, and then Drew's like, "Oh, what's the one that's falling off?" And Oswald goes, "Sewing." Stay Drew forever.
Yeah, never change Drew Carey.
Never change Drew Carey. Drew starts kind of talking more existentially about what he wants to do. He's thinking about becoming a minister,
right?
Basically,
right.
He's thinking about taking that year to God and maybe into a life.
That's right. That's how we get back into. He wants to go back to church, but before we get there, Oswald suggests, why don't we get some answers via a Ouija board?
Mm-hmm.
And Drew's crew ends up using a Ouija board. Obviously,
I like this demon. This demon's got some pretty good suggestions.
Well, even I was just sitting here, and this scene made me like, I would fucking love to hang out with these people.
Yeah, they're a fun group.
Boy, because naturally they have the demon spell out beer and then chips.
Yes, that's what they should get out of their lives.
This is all they care about.
Yeah.
Drew is having a crisis. He almost died. And they're all like, hey, can we have some domestic beer? And they only like domestic beer.
Yeah.
And chips.
And the specifically barbecue chips.
Yeah.
Lewis.
I like a barbecue chip.
I don't.
I used to... I went on a phase where I was exclusive to salt and vinegar.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I was sour cream and onion. I've come back around on barbecue chips.
I've always just been plain Shane. That's where I'm at with chips. I don't really fuck with the flavors.
I love the flavors.
I think a potato chip in its like essential form, its pure essence is just already perfect.
I won't fight you on it.
I'll get a kettle cooked chip.
Chips
that's
are my
nice
favorite
too.
food.
Yeah. They're one of my favorites, and that's a problem because I'm going to fucking my mouth up with all the cuts I get on my gums and everything.
Yeah.
My dentist would like me to not like chips as much as I do. What do you want me to do instead? Popcorn? Come on, man. That's bad for your teeth, too.
That's also bad for your teeth.
There's no good answer here. Ice cubes? Like, what am I supposed to be eating during the day?
I may or may not know somebody who, when we eat popcorn, she chews the kernels that don't get popped. And
but not swallows.
Well, yeah, but she'll bite it and then chew it and swallow it.
Nah,
it's crazy to me because I've tried it. I'll try to see. Oh yeah, I'll try anything once. I'll try to see where you're coming from.
Yeah,
it hurts.
Yeah,
it hurts your teeth.
Of course,
you bite on that kernel and it everything.
The amount of dental
together.
work that I have had done even recently, I'd break a filling or something.
Yeah,
I would not at all. That's crazy.
She's brave.
Yeah.
She's braver than I.
Out of the Ouija board, we decide to actually get some answers from an actual religious expert. We go to church. We go to a very vague Christian church. There's pews. There's a pastor or a minister. Again, They keep it kind of vague on purpose, I believe. But yeah, Drew goes to talk to his pastor before his pastor's sermon about his situation and like what next steps he could take if he wanted to really pursue being a minister.
Mm-hmm. Can we just how weird it is to see all of them walk into church?
They're all dressed nice. Dare I say, I think the guys look nicer than they when they were trying to be in the Wildebeest Club. I think they look nicer even going to church, which is probably good.
Yeah, they dressed up for it. They put on their Sunday best.
Yeah, though they don't really act their Sunday best. They find the word rectory very funny.
They also yes,
it's funny. They're talking about
they bring
the
up
pastor
rectory
wants to go
a
into
lot.
his rectory, but then actually my rectory is closed.
It's getting painted.
Yeah, the inside of his rectory is getting painted.
I like they keep bringing up Drew Carey's minister phase.
Yeah,
what the fuck?
Yeah. At what point was Drew? Well, could it have been around the time that he wrote he wanted to give a year to God?
I think they gave us a year, and it was like 14.
Yeah. That he was like really considering.
Whoa.
Yeah. Sometimes it'd be like that.
Maybe
I don't know.
That's all he really. Yeah. I don't know. I guess
Drew kind of does give like youth pastor energy. He kind of could. You know, he's fun.
I was in a youth group at one point. I guess I get it. You know, if you just keep doing that, you convince yourself that maybe this is something I could do long term, and then for some people it is.
You probably feel like you're giving it's something above you, something beyond you. You're touching other lives in a way that maybe the director of personnel at a shopping center doesn't feel, or a department store doesn't feel the way. You know.
They did, but in his minister phase, Lewis does bring up that he remembered it and that Drew baptized his hamster.
I think I missed this in my
Or
notes.
maybe Oswald brought it up, and then because Lewis was then like, you but he was a Buddhist.
I like the idea of any religion or a hamster belonging to any religion. The idea that Buddhism, that's very like, Zen of that hamster.
I feel like that would be the most appropriate choice for a hamster.
Yeah. Just because they get fat and chill out all day.
Well, they do have the body type of Buddha.
Absolutely.
Generally. You don't see a skinny hamster.
Not at all.
If you do, that'd
abuse.
be really sad.
That's animal abuse.
That'd be on a PETA commercial or something. We eventually get to in this scene. He's talking to the minister, and he says, I think God kept me out of the carpool. I want to devote my life to the church, I think.
Mm-hmm. So, and the pastor just says, follow your heart, and you'll know what to do.
That's some pastor shit.
Yeah, exactly. That's just like some, I got a thing to do.
Like he's, as we find out, he is like, in the next scene, not to skip ahead, but a couple scenes from now, he's just like, I'm working on this softball lineup for the church.
Yeah. He's just a guy as well.
Yeah.
I do like, not to really harp on it, I don't have a lot to say, but apparently the guy who was lost in the car crash from the Optimus
he
Club
was an excellent person,
an all-time human being, like involved in every charity. He coached a blind softball league or something, and I think that's what the pastor's taking over or something. It's crazy.
That has to be everything has to be on a tee, I imagine. There's nobody's taking pitches in that.
Do they have like Braille bats? Like, I don't understand. Drew, we then see in the office, he's reading the Bible. And I feel like every time I've said the word Bible, it's been a question. I'm just amazed that we're really seeing a religious Drew Carey throughout all of this.
Yeah.
He's reading the Bible. There's a dispute between, I believe, Susie and Nora
over a cat or a kitten. Yeah,
that Nora finds in the bathroom. Susie says it's hers, but it ran through under the stall door, whatever. Drew gives a very biblical answer and says, let's cut it in half.
Yeah.
I love this. I really like Old Testament Drew.
He pulls out a knife and he's like, let's cut the kitten. And they're like, are you a psycho?
Yeah. Which, fair.
Yeah.
Very fair response to that.
Drew trying to implement the King Solomon
technique.
No good.
They end up deciding they share
saying
custody.
They want joint custody, and it does work.
Yeah. There you go. Maybe God was onto something.
Yeah. Cut to Kate and Jay walking in shortly after this, and they're like, Oh, a knife and a Bible. You must be in the Old Testament. Or
There
something.
you go.
Yeah.
There you go. And yeah, Kim basically brings up that she's like kind of surprised Drew is stuck on this. He hasn't been stuck on an idea like this since the model train that delivers you beer. And am I wrong? I wrote that they called it the Choo Choo Brew.
No, it's the Choo Choo Chug.
Choo Choo Chug. I like that even better.
The Choo Choo Chug, and it came to him in a dream.
There you go. Yeah, as all great ideas should. So, but he's really stuck on this. Drew and Mimi fight. That's literally all I wrote. I don't remember what it was over.
No, I just remember how it ends with another Jim Halpert-esque prank where Mimi goes to pick up her coffee and Drew has somehow
Stuck
glued
just the bottom.
just the bottom to the table.
Yeah.
And she lifts it up and the coffee goes everywhere.
How would he have done that?
Maybe the assumption is that he just glued the coffee mug to the table, and then Mimi is so strong.
Yeah, she's so
that she
physically
ripped-
capable that she just tore the base off of it.
Yeah, but you'd think the handle would go first.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. I think it was very fun.
Good visual gag.
Yeah, absolutely. Drew goes to a church. Goes back to the church.
Yeah, we're back at the church. This
And
goes
he's-
back to that scene where
He's
the guy's
talking to
working
the
on the softball
pastor.
lineup.
The softball lineup the pastor's working on. Drew, I guess, also has been filling out a form to see how he would respond to different questions, faith-based questions.
Yeah.
But also they're not, because
like
one of them is like, would you kill Hitler?
Yeah, would
Would
you
you
kill
go back
baby
in time
Hitler
and kill
or something?
Hitler?
Yeah.
And he says no, because then we wouldn't have the A&E channel. But then he decides actually yes, because then I would be on the A&E channel.
Sound logic.
Yeah, I
think.
agree with all of that.
Man kills baby. Now
Yeah.
he's on the A&E channel.
He's just a hero. And it's here, while the pastor goes back to review Drew's work, that we get his first real test at being a minister, when a woman comes in facing hardship and looks to speak to a spiritual advisor, basically. I wrote this down because she has the saddest possible fucking story that you have ever heard. Her child is sick and needs an operation. She doesn't have a job. Her husband left her for her sister. And she could borrow money from a friend, but she thinks that the friend stole the money from her to begin with and is dealing drugs.
Just
Curveball.
triple whammy.
Go for it. What's your answer? Come on, we need it
Yeah,
right now.
what was that on your fucking test?
And I believe her question is specifically, is it ethical to take the money? And Drew, kind of like his computer at the start of this, just short circuits and doesn't know how to answer the thing.
He's like, actually, the real minister's coming.
Which offends this woman because she's just poured her soul out to this stranger
Yeah.
who's unable to help her. So she basically tells him to get lost and get a job. Unless you can get me a job, get lost. And then she starts to walk out. And then Drew decides, you know what? I can get you a job, actually. Gives her his business card and goes, what do you do? And she's like, I've been a waitress. He goes, well, I got a cafeteria at the Winfred Louder department store. We'll hook you up.
Yeah.
And that basically that changes his trajectory because he realizes he doesn't have to be a minister to make an impact in people's lives. He can just do it through his current position of hiring people to then make money.
Yeah, just giving sad people jobs.
Yeah.
That is what
That's
he
the
can do for the
Cleveland
world.
way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everyone gets a job.
If you're sad, you get a job.
The one thing in this scene that she did take all that offense to him, and he admitted he was just the minister in training. It was very reminiscent of like my days as like an intern or a desk assistant in news, and these people would call and they wouldn't be totally sure who I am.
Yeah.
And like before you really learn how to talk to people on the phone, you just kind of, I mean, you just listen and then you pause and then you give your best educated guess.
Yeah.
And the second they hear you second guess, and that's what you learn not to do, is not that they're like, can I talk to like a real person? They'll
Yeah.
get fucking rude
Oh,
with
I'm
you.
sure.
There'll be random people, like PR people pitching, and they'll be like, can I talk to like a producer? Do you have like an adult in the room?
Yeah. Can
Is
I
your
get
mom there?
Is this the kids' table?
Yes.
Right, exactly. Yeah, no, it was a lot of like I don't know energy, and Drew clearly did not know.
But good for him.
Yeah.
He came around. He got her a job. So we cut to the last scene here.
The closing scene. Oh no! Well, before we get to the closing scene,
There's something else?
well, no, the credit scene.
Yeah.
No, before that. Well, the one thing I wanted to say was
They go to the pool table. Is this not the pool table?
no,
scene?
no. This is the kitchen.
Oh,
and we
right.
see
Yes.
the Choo Choo, not brew. What did you say it was? The Choo Choo Chug.
Yes.
The Choo Choo Chug is in action and completely falls over, collapses, spills the beer.
And Ryan's like, my beer could have been on that train.
Womp womp. Yeah. No, I thought it was really funny that we tie it back to the Choo Choo Chug. Closing scene, though, is Drew inviting his pastor to the office. Is that where you were going with this?
Yeah. Well, no, I forgot that. I forgot about this scene. But yeah, he walks in with the pastor into the office. Credits are rolling. And he's like, I don't normally do this. I don't really know what it is yet. And naturally, Drew pulls up to Mimi's desk. Mm-hmm. And he's like, all right, perform the exorcism. And then
the pastor goes, oh, well, this is just a human woman.
And she turns around
and says, how can I help you? And the pastor goes, I think we might have to call a Catholic priest. End of the episode. Pretty solid app, I think, all around.
Great app.
Yeah.
Just the jokes are all good. And
really solid.
Every the cast is just crushing it.
Yeah.
I love their group dynamic. God, I want to hang out with them.
God, if I could only have lived in Cleveland, Ohio in the 90s.
It would have been a dream. I could have worked at that department store.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think you would have done at the department? Do you think you're on the floor? You think you're like you think you're in like menswear?
I'll do menswear or sportswear.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I think I'm
I could just move boxes. Maybe I'd work for Jay's moving company.
Oh, there you go. Nice. Yeah. Well, they play a role in this next episode.
Yes, not to tease ahead.
No, but we're going to jump into it anyway because the cold open is basically unrelated from the whole thing, which I enjoyed. But we get a little Lisa
episode
Drew.
16.
Episode
it's called
16.
Drew's New Assistant.
That's right. And the cold open, again, unrelated to any assistant sort of talk. But we get some sexy talk with Drew and Lisa and eventually Oswald and Kate and Lewis, the whole gang.
This was my favorite cold open.
I enjoy it. It's really good. Drew calls Lisa. They apparently didn't have their missed secret office connection or conversation that they usually do, so he wants to make up for it. He's just eating a pizza on the couch. She's giving her dog a bath.
Kent State sweatshirt. Shout out Golden Flashes.
There you go.
Shout out Lucas. Everyone Google him, Lucas from Kent State.
He's getting so many shout outs in this podcast, man. He's gonna get a job, no problem after that. Get another job because he works there. You said right?
Yeah. He works for the government.
Oh well, never mind. Okay,
they're always listening. He's always listening.
They're listening to this right now, even before it's released. But yeah, so basically, him and Lisa are trying to have a little sexy phone time. Oswald calls Drew, and just looks to shoot the shit. Drew can't get a hold of switching between the two lines, so we end up.
That's like a running gag with. I guess it had to be really hard.
Yeah.
We never used landlines in the age where we had people on hold and everything, but lines were apparently getting crossed and or maybe this was just this problem was nowhere near as big as television made it out to be in the 90s.
I never have the problem on a smartphone, but I do have I don't really know how to merge calls or switch between calls sometimes.
Yeah, I do have trouble with it on my landline at work.
Yeah.
We have to do it all the time, and I will still screw it up.
Absolutely. It's hard. Why can't it be easier?
I don't know.
We'll never know. So, yeah, that, Drew ends up talking dirty to Oswald, saying he wants to lick his nipples. Kate calls Lisa, and Lisa's like, oh, Drew's trying to have, a little flirty conversation. She goes, oh, well, that'll only take a minute.
Yeah.
And then they switch back, and then they finally think they're uninterrupted, and they're back on the same line.
And Drew's like, say, give me something in your sexiest voice. Yeah. And Oswald's like, ooh, hey, buddy.
I did like Oswald also starting the conversation with, I've been talking really slow today.
No explanation as to why he was only holding because it was important whatever he had to talk about.
Yep. And the last thing before it ends is Drew gets interrupted by an operator.
Operator busts in.
We have an emergency call from your mother. Will you accept? And he goes, fine. And then it is not his mom. It's
Lewis.
It's Lewis.
And he's like, I have a very important question.
He's making a bet.
I have to make a bet.
And who's faster, a midget or a pig? Who's faster, TJ?
It's a pig.
Can I tell you why? I need to know the type of pig. Because if it's just like a regular pig, I don't know. But if it's like one of those wild hogs, I think the pig wins.
The wild hogs.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Yeah, the Feral Hogs. Wow. Yeah, no, exactly. If it's the crew of Tim Allen, who else is in Wild Hogs? William H. Macy.
William H. Macy, I think, said it.
If it's that gang, they're clearly beating that midget. I'm so
they're
sorry.
They're gonna crush that midget. Won't even be close. But I think I'd still give the nod to a pig, because from every video, all the film I've studied, pigs are quick.
You watching pigs on tape?
They are quick little guys.
Absolutely.
I see them in reels all the time.
Yeah. Well, they probably know what. I like how Instagram Reels is your method for who's faster, a little person or an animal.
I'm not on little person reels yet.
No. Sometimes we are.
I bet you I will be now.
There you go. Absolutely. I do agree with you, though. That's probably the pig. I hate to say it. Sorry.
It's got 4 legs.
Sorry, little people. Yeah, exactly. It's just math.
It's just churning.
Yeah, it's double the speed.
It's got those ham hocks, those hogs, going hog wild.
Listen, because here's the thing: if you catch a pig, you're going to turn it into bacon. I've never run towards a little person being like, "I'm going to cook you up."
No.
You know what I mean? Pigs run with a purpose.
No, but I guess you could run towards a little person and be like, "I'm going to get your pot of gold," but that's it.
Cold open's over. So there's a remodeling sale going on at Winfred Louder. Everybody's trying to grab some like stupid, dumb shit.
Oh, I love that. In this moment, I've really felt a kinship to Lisa, because she walks in with a giant pencil.
Yep.
I mean, you can't even see the top of the pencil. It's going off camera. And then Drew's like, "What are you going to do with that?" And she was like, "It was $1."
Yeah, it's a good bargain. It's a great bargain. Drew ends up scolding them, but then he also wins his bid on like a giant woman's pump.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I don't,
Kate has like a half a man, one of those punching dummies.
Yeah. One of the punching dummies. Yeah. Anyway, they're all having fun with that. But then Mimi is called into Mr. Bell's office after Mr. Bell excuses Susie, who they've had a little bit of an afternoon delight. Yeah, her sweater's on backwards, and when Drew points it out in a kind of non-embarrassing way, she goes, "Oh, it must have been because I put it on wrong when I had sex with Mr. Bell."
Yeah.
Just no subtle.
There's no subtlety to this.
Susie.
We already knew this. I mean, back when the whole episode that surrounded, it was like episode 2.
Yeah, no, it was like it was very early on. It was them talking about Mr. Bell sleeping with women. Anyway,
that particular person,
Susie, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, she is back. So yeah, Mimi goes in, and then Drew gets a phone call from Mr. Bell. "Congratulations, Drew! You've got yourself a new assistant." Great. Love that. He's been wanting one, I guess, for a while. It also seems like it's like a mature thing. He can't wait to have
he's moving up in the world.
Yeah.
You can call his dad.
Exactly.
Let him know.
Exactly. But then we realize it's because Mimi has been demoted.
Mimi has been demoted.
Yeah.
To his
to Drew's assistant. She is Drew's assistant.
But
Susie is going to be Mr. Bell's new assistant.
And we find out that this job also does not have a desk. So Mimi just starts clearing off
his desk.
Half of Drew's shit.
I love that detail the most.
Yes.
It's crazy to me that they just were like, they'll share.
Whenever we find out that Susie got the job, Mimi breaks the news to Drew that it's going to be her. Obviously, Drew's devastated. And Susie was like, Mimi was like, they gave Susie the one position she hasn't had yet with Mr. Bell.
There you go.
Bang.
Anyway, cut to Drew at home.
With the crew.
Him and Mimi sharing a desk has not been going well. His legs are covered in bruises because I guess they can't agree on the amount of foot space that each of them needs under that desk.
She kept kicking him.
Yeah. So they're all icing his legs.
I like that. You get your friends. That's how you know you got real friends.
Yeah.
If they're icing your legs down.
Absolutely.
Would you ice my leg if I was getting kicked in
Buddy,
the shin?
I've done a lot for you, absolutely.
Okay.
I think I have.
Yeah. I'd ice your legs.
Yeah. I was here. I wasn't really doing much with your back. I'm trying to think.
No,
you were the one shocking your own ass.
When I had my back incident.
Yeah.
You were at your work party.
That is true. The situation was TJ basically had spinal collapse is the wrong term.
No, but I had I herniated 2 discs when I was lifting something above my head and I sneezed. I had slipped the discs at the gym, but this is when I had a muscle spasm that I like collapsed on the ground. I didn't stand for like 19 hours.
Yeah, you were totally wiped out. And you texted me that you were having discomfort or you weren't able to. I wish I had the text still. And it was the night of my office holiday party.
Yeah.
And I was like, do you need me to come home? And you were like, nah.
I'll be all right.
I'll be fine. And then I came home, and the state of disarray that things were in, I should have left.
I had been army
party.
crawling from the bedroom to the living room. I ordered Chinese food.
I love this
and
detail.
I answered the door
on the ground,
and the Chinese guy was looking straight ahead, as if there was going to be a man in front of him.
Yeah.
And there was not. And then he looked down, and there was me just reaching my hand up for my.
And did he ask how you were?
Nope. He handed me the Chinese
and
food
went on out
and walked away. Okay, thank you. And then I shut the door.
That's a man committed to his job.
To his work.
He's not asking questions. And he's there for a duty, and he served the purpose, and he left.
Yeah. And I'm sure whoever he delivered to next, they won't understand what he saw or how devoted he was. They won't appreciate how devoted he was to getting that delivery to them on time. But just next time you feel like your delivery is taking a little too long, just think about how much they might be ignoring. Like a wounded man on the ground.
You could be like, oh, my Chinese food's 20 minutes late, but it could have been 40 minutes late if they decided to help someone out.
Help somebody in need.
Yeah, but they're not doing that.
No. They have a job.
Speaking of back injuries, Jay comes in and like almost immediately drops to all fours.
This is really funny.
Yeah.
I guess he threw his back out because he has the moving business, and there was Drew looks over and he's like, he tells the rest of the gang, shh, I saw this one on the Nature Channel.
Right, because Kate is like...
Kate looks like she's about to mount him.
Right, exactly. And he reveals that his back's all kind of fucked, and he was... Something with...
Actually, I only brought up this joke because I have here in my notes, sorry, before we get ahead of ourselves. This was the first time I've seen the whole cast break.
Yes.
That joke. That joke about like Kate mounting him and he saw on the Nature Channel. Drew is clearly laughing. Kate cannot move on to the next line. Everyone's just looking around. That was a heartwarming moment. You could see the cast bonding.
I keep forgetting that this is filmed in front of a live studio audience too. That's the other thing that like you have to like. It's got to be really hard. I would feel you've done live performance in front of people in a sketch setting. I couldn't imagine in a sitcom.
I couldn't imagine. Yeah,
the pressure on it.
And just
I would break all the time.
Some of these sitcoms, and you have an audience that's like fully engaged. Like they want to be there. They know they're a part of the experience.
Actually,
they know
they're amped up and coached.
Laugh.
Exactly. Yeah.
So they're just every joke is hitting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would probably be so hard.
I would break 1,000 times. So kudos, but we do see. We also should mention because we haven't brought this up. Lisa's also there, just for what it's worth.
Oh yeah, Lisa's hanging out with the gang.
I like that. Yeah, more of that, please. But yeah, so there's something wrong with Jay and his back, and basically, I guess anybody else that was working for his moving company is unavailable to help this weekend.
Right.
So Lewis, Oswald, and Drew all agree to help with any deliveries he has over the weekend. Well in advance of this next scene that's going to be coming up. So we then end up back at the office, and Drew is now trying to adjust to life with Mimi as his assistant. And it's not going great.
They're still sharing the desk.
They're still sharing the desk. He's got to interview candidates, and she's just kind of like
she's totally sabotaging it. Not only that,
I mean, she's
just
a bad assistant.
Yeah,
terrible assistant.
Just completely fucking him over.
Yeah, she's making the female interviewees uncomfortable by implying that Drew's just horny for them.
Right,
and not going well. So Drew basically pulls her aside and and goes like, "Listen, we have to come to an understanding here that you work for me. You are my assistant. I'm done with like all of this unprofessionalism. I'm done with the way that you design the desk."
Yeah.
So he takes all of her troll dolls, and starts like collecting them up to be trashed.
He grabs the one and she was like, "Do
Don't
not
touch
touch the trolls." And Drew was like, "Is that what your parents used to say to your dates?"
Got him.
Got him.
She pulls out a stapler and threatens to
put one right between his eyes.
Right between his eyes. And then he throws all of the troll dolls in the trash.
Yeah.
He ducks in one swift motion. She throws the stapler, and it goes right into the window of Mr. Bell's door. Like, it's like a weird... I haven't seen offices like that in a while where they got, like,
They have a door and they have
pane.
blinds. They have a glass pane, and then he has blinds on the other end, so you can't even see through it.
I missed the blinds, you're right.
Yeah.
But anyway, broken glass, they got to call immediately, and they're both suspended by Mr. Bell for a week.
Mm-hmm.
And, like...
Because they've been fighting since they met.
Right, and they got to fix it. So, don't worry, though, because Drew's got a job. He's going to be working as a delivery man with Jay.
He's going to be, moonlighting as a mover.
There you go. The one problem is, I didn't even think, obviously, we were saying earlier you'd work for Jay. I didn't even think about your moving experience with that.
Oh, I was thinking all about it, just specifically when they're in the truck.
Yeah.
I was like, God, I kind of miss
the truck.
Like, sitting in the truck, and there would just be, like, 3 of us, and you would just be, I mean, I used to move furniture for the folks at home, and it was just a random job out of college when I couldn't get anything. I was just like, hey, let me, I'm strong. I can go. I just Googled moving companies. I called them, asked if I could have a job. Shout out Old City Movers.
Hell
they
yeah.
were like, come
Philadelphia,
on in.
Pennsylvania.
And then I, yes, please hire them for all your moving needs.
There you go.
This episode's brought to you
by Old City Movers.
But excellent company, just what a amazing experience. Everyone there was it was just a summer of, it was a lot of work.
Sure.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think that's why I had like a hernia and I screwed up some discs in my back over the years. But like sitting in the truck and everyone was just, you're just thinking about you're hopped up on coffee, getting your breakfast sandwiches, or everyone's like, there would be one guy we had, Sam, who could just like he would roll his own cigarettes. He would be driving like a 24-foot truck, moving truck, and he would just be rolling a cigarette through the narrow streets of Philadelphia.
Driving with his elbows.
Yeah, and then like he would adjust the radio because he was big into music. He played all those guys played music for some reason.
Well, I'm sure it's like the job you take so you can do the creative passion.
Yeah. I mean, just the best people, but it ruins you. I had never felt like I could definitely relate to Jay in that moment of him on all fours.
Sure.
I'm like, I threw out my back.
Sacrificing your body.
A number of days.
Do you think Drew Carey is the perfect moving specimen?
He could use a little practice.
It's an uphill battle.
Yeah. You'd be surprised. Some of these people, though, like we used to move with guys. You always think they're like going to be big, burly chested guys.
Yeah.
And I think those are generally the best people because they have more control over an object. But sometimes these like little wiry, scrappy dude. There were a lot of them at that moving company.
Yeah.
And they could just lift like 3 times their weight. and like you would do this thing called a back carry.
Sure.
And it would be like 4 boxes stacked up, all your fragile belongings stacked up on this person's back.
Right.
And you'd take it down 4 flights of stairs. I mean, it was impressive, some of them. But anyway.
It's like Super Mario Brothers strength.
Yes.
You see this little Italian man, you're like, he can't do anything.
No way.
And then he's carrying barrels.
But
he's throwing them at monkeys.
Instead of an Italian plumber, it's just like a hipster from Fishtown.
Right. It's Ricky.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they're on this moving job. The moving job, amazingly, is to Mimi's apartment house. Unclear the living situation. But we get a look inside Mimi's place. And
what
a sight. It's gaudy as hell. That's what I have in my notes.
I mean, it is an acid trip, though.
Colorful,
really.
Zany. Yeah, she's got bead curtains.
And you had just squiggly lines and
everything looked
patterns. Like a lava lamp.
Yeah, it's wild. But anyway, she realizes Drew's among the company and like demands him get out. And he tries to make a peace offering and goes, listen, I don't want to fire you. I can't fire you. You're not going to leave. I don't want to leave. What if we just try to make amends here and we go to counseling like they suggest? And she's basically immediately turned off and says, like, bite me, doughboy, I believe is the line.
Right.
So
She goes in the other room
because there's a life-size Antonio Banderas that she says, do not touch. Oswald touches it, and he says, it sprayed me. No other details. Perfect. I don't need to know. I don't want to know.
No. It's just that was its gut reaction.
Yeah.
There's a security system on the life-size Antonio Banderas.
I hope it's a security system. I don't know what the hell else it could be spraying. She runs back to deal with that, and then Lewis and Drew decide to go through her cabinets and cupboards
because what else do you do in a stranger's house?
Right. Well, it's also they reason what could she be hiding?
Right.
That's like if she's already willing to put out all of this crap.
Yeah.
So they go
what do you
through
think's in the cupboard.
What's in the cupboards? The cupboard has photos of Drew, hundreds of photos of Drew.
It was like a shrine. It was some of them were framed on like the wall, and that's what they take it as. And, and it weirds Drew and Ryan out, obviously, and Drew runs out of the apartment, and
back in the big rig where
we're in the
big
rig.
Horn.
We're in the truck. Ryan's got his whole hands behind the wheel because he always wanted to.
He's dreamed of it, Lewis. But it's they decide to talk about it. And Drew's like, I think she's in love with me.
Yeah, naturally.
Natural
that would
response.
be what I would think.
Yeah, if I saw someone with a secret
Had
shrine of Frodo's
me,
to me.
yes. And they were like giving me all this like hate, but like attention.
It's the
still.
classic Helga Pataki. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's Hey Arnold all over.
Right,
Absolutely.
exactly.
She got a little love cabinet for them. Yeah, it's and he's turned off by the whole idea, and he doesn't know how to handle that then because then that adds a whole level of complication to this.
Yeah.
So we end this with them at the store, and we reach a nice conclusion because Drew realizes how he's going to get Susie out of that job.
Yes. So Drew's been scheming, and he gives what does he give he has an opening in jewelry.
There's an opening in jewelry because the woman who was there before, I guess they found out it was really easy to steal from. He's peppering this with Susie.
Peppering the job, and he really hands the application to Susie to post.
Yeah, and she immediately runs into Mr. Bell's office almost clamoring for it.
Yes.
Meanwhile, Mimi comes in, and Drew tries to confront her about the shrine by being like,
he calls it the Droove.
Yes, it's a museum of me. It's like the Droove. Good. Turns out the photos are not because Mimi's in love with Drew. It is because she has been pretending to be him, or was pretending to be him in love letters to male prison inmates. It's so good.
Lonely prison
inmates. It's perfect.
The classic misunderstanding.
Yeah.
Of course, that's what it was.
Their first date's going to be in 6 or 9 months or 6 months with good behavior.
Yes.
I love it. Yeah. So, but then she kind of walks us back and says once Mr. Bell assigned her to work for him, she said
she didn't go through with it.
So anyway, Mr. Bell calls Drew and goes, "Hey, congratulations to Mimi. She's back at my desk. Unfortunately, sorry, Drew. You don't have an assistant anymore." He seems fine with that after this whole experience,
right?
And yeah, the last little tidbit was Mimi saying that. First of all, she's upset that she wasn't approached by Drew for the jewelry job. But Drew was basically like, "Fuck off! Like, you've made my life hell. Why
bite me, dough girl."
Exactly. So she's
like, "Oh, I did all these nice things for you, though. I
cleared your schedule.
I cleared your schedule,
or alphabetized, whatever the hell. If you want, you can check. The discs are in the left drawer over there." Really kind of sad. Setting Drew up. Drew opens the drawer. It's upside down, filled with marbles.
Naturally.
Classic. And that's the end of that.
God, The Office really did just take the Jim and Dwight thing from Drew and Mimi.
It's crazy. It's absolutely nuts it's just
lifted.
But I'll say this, they did a way better job with it on this one than I think the Jim and Dwight, because this one has a little more bite to it. Maybe it's a 90s
I really feel like
too.
they hate each other in this.
Yeah.
I mean, they do get pretty crazy creative in The Office. I will say, like the one where they pretend Jim is Asian is kind of funny.
Absolutely.
But we don't know where this goes. I mean, we're in season 1 here.
Yeah. They're already batting 100.
So cut to the last scene, the credits scene.
Yeah, the credits scene here.
Lewis is
back
inside
at
Mimi's apartment pulling out underwear out of a package. And he's claiming that they are...
Antonio Banderas's.
Yeah, slightly worn, never washed
Antonio
Banderas boxers.
And he's trying to sell them to her.
Yes.
And she almost goes with it. But then she realizes that it's not 100% cotton underwear, which, if you've read Antonio Banderas' fan literature, is all he wears.
Yeah, of course.
Of course she knows that, and of course Lewis just runs out.
Oversight.
Mm-hmm. Missed opportunity. And yeah, that's the end of these 2 episodes. Solid. I really think these are, it just continues to build.
Yeah, it was just funny. I was consistently laughing. This is a great show.
Yeah.
And I just love the cast. I'm excited to see where this goes.
Yeah.
I mean, we've expanded the world plenty.
And we kind of started with it, but I really do feel like we are nailing the Mimi Drew dynamic more as it goes on. So I'm excited to see how it goes even further into the next 8 seasons.
Yeah, takes off.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So, but yeah, that about wraps this, I think. So thank you for listening.
Hey, thanks, guys.
If you want to give us a follow on Instagram, we're doing some fun stuff there.
We're what is it?
Cleveland Rocks Podcast.
Yes.
And you can email us too if you have. Again, I noticed this in the last couple episodes I was editing. If anyone there can connect us with anyone who wrote or worked on the Drew Carey show,
that'd be excellent.
We'd love to give them a little chat.
Actually talk with someone.
You can email us. It's clevelandrockspodcast@gmail.com.
Because if this show is as good as it just reads on screen, the cast had to be having a good time.
I'd hope.
I mean, not only the cast, the crew. I mean, the whole. You would imagine that as long as everyone wasn't breaking their back over the show,
as long as people weren't ending up on all fours,
it seems like the kind of environment that it would be very familial by the end as they kind of work through this.
Yeah. So, thank you for listening as always.
Thanks.
We'll chat with you in the next one.
See ya.